Hello, and welcome to Film with Family. I'm Austin.
And I'm Zach.
And we're two cousins talking movies. On today's episode, we'll be talking about two of our favorite comedies of all time. For me, it's Adam Sandler's 1995 debut hit, Billy Madison. And for my cousin Zach here, that's the 1987 Coen brothers sophomore film, Raising Arizona. But before we get into all that, I want to just check in. Zach, how are you doing today?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling happy because I just got a new microphone.
Yeah, I hear that.
Just for this podcast. It's a Snowball brand if they're interested in sponsoring us. But yeah, I'm excited to get serious about podcasting. It's our third episode. We can't fuck around anymore.
Yeah, we got to up our game, and you seriously have the big old snowball that looks like Hal from 2001: A Space Odyssey. We tried in the second episode to enhance the audio quality using this beta Adobe program that takes what I think is like an AI print of your voice and turns it into this incredibly professional sounding audio, but it is in its very formative stages, so there are some kinks. So you might notice in the second episode that there are moments when I sound totally unnatural and robotic.
Yeah.
We tried to do it with yours, but it was too often that you were sounding insane.
Yeah, there's one moment in particular where I sounded like just a little alien just kind of chiming or something like that. And I was like,
yeah.
I can't allow that at the moment.
Yeah.
But it did sound good though, and most of it sounded a lot better. You did it with Drew's audio, and it really made it sound a lot better.
Yeah, I think that it honestly is an incredible technology. Unfortunately, it makes me as an editor feel like my days are numbered, and AI is going to be taken over pretty soon. This could cost a lot of audio engineers their job. It's pretty drastic. I just edited a little video for my job where it was two guys, it was only the camera mic. They were probably about 8 feet away from the camera. It was in this super echoey room with tons of AC. You could barely hear them at all. And I ran it through this program, and it sounds like a podcast. It sounds perfect.
Yeah, that's great for filmmakers because audio is a tough thing to nail. So it's a great tool for them. But yeah, definitely for audio engineers, it's a little worrisome, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't know. AI is probably coming for all of us. So
yeah,
who knows? Maybe right now what you're listening to isn't really me and Zach. Actually, it's a AI model of our personality.
Yeah. We just typed in, all right, we're going to talk about these two movies, and we just pressed go, and in 10 minutes it spat out this episode.
Yeah, with all the awkward pauses and everything.
They know us better than we do. Damn robots.
All right, let's get into it. Raising Arizona. Maybe, Zach, if you could just give us a synopsis and why you chose this movie, maybe let us know how that movie played a part in your life as a man and as a filmmaker.
Raising Arizona, 1987. It says it's directed by Joel Coen, but we know it's the Coen brothers. They kind of trade off who gets listed as the main director, but they're a package deal.
A family.
Yeah. Their lawless years are behind them. Their child-rearing years lay ahead. The Coen brothers tell the story of an absurd yet likable family with an unproductive couple as the focal point. The couple has gotten themselves into some trouble while kidnapping a baby and give Hollywood one of the most memorable chase scenes to date. So that's what it says on the letterbox.
That's kind of a weird synopsis of the movie, though.
Yeah, I guess the
memorable chase scene is yeah, sure. But
I mean,
like,
it
that's
is.
not the main thing.
Yeah, it's like that's the biggest takeaway is that chasing. I mean, it is a great set piece, that chase scene. I love it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's kind of amazing like how long it goes on for. It just like keeps going, but it keeps escalating in really incredible ways. But I absolutely adore this film. I love it. I feel like Holly Hunter, once she first gets a baby, just going, I love it so much.
I love him so much.
I know you do, honey.
I love him so much.
I know you do.
She's incredible. I
Yeah.
love Holly Hunter. The scene where she's like, now that we got a baby, everything's changed.
Yeah, every line reading she does is perfect. Holly Hunter as Ed or Edwina is incredible. Nicolas Cage as H.I. McDonough. Yeah, I just love these two so much in this movie. They have such great chemistry with each other. Their characters, like, they sell you on their relationship right away. That's like how the movie starts, as them meeting. She's a cop and like at the jail and like taking his headshot, and like they have like this little fun little flirtatious interaction backed by this incredible like folksy like yodeling music.
Yeah, which is throughout the whole movie. The banjo yodeling is so good.
Yeah,
You're just a flower. You're just a desert flower.
Yeah, that's what he says to her in the first scene.
Yeah, Nicolas Cage is a convict who keeps winding up in jail for robbing like convenience stores, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he loves robbing convenience stores. That's his bread and butter. Part of why I picked this movie is that I just have a distinct memory of watching this movie at home. I think I was either in 6th or 7th grade. So I was like probably like 10 or 11 years old. And I feel like I've seen bits and pieces of it elsewhere in my life, but I feel like this was the first time I really sat down and watched the whole thing. And I watched it with my good buddy Ashton. And yeah, I just fucking loved it. And I just was so inspired. Like after watching it, I was just like, we got to make movies right now. So I grabbed my dad's digital camera, and that same night we like started shooting each other with Nerf guns and filming it. And that became what we called Bum Productions. It was like a series called Bum Films, where we did like 10 of them, where we just kind of shot each other with Nerf guns in different ways, in different setups. But this movie was like a direct influence on me, like wanting to make movies. Like the same night I saw this movie, I was like, we got to make movies. It really got to me.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's amazing. Do you have those early films still tucked away somewhere?
Yeah, I think they must be on a hard drive at my parents' house. I should try and dig them up.
It's interesting you say that too, because I was watching a little clip of Nick Cage talking about Raising Arizona, and he said, when he was making that movie, he coined this phrase, "I'm getting that Super 8 feeling."
I used to make movies with my brother in the backyard when we were children. And we had a Super 8 camera that my father gave us, and we would make movies. And that Super 8 feeling, I've often said, is the feeling where you're making a movie simply because you love the movie. You're not doing it for money, you're not doing it for awards, you're doing it simply because you love the story you're telling and the filmmaking experience itself. And I remember Joel said, I'm getting that Super 8 feeling. He said, well, that's good. Let's go with keep that going.
So it's interesting that it inspired you in that exact way, just watching it, because it does have that feeling of just like, we're just going to have fun.
Yeah, it's such a fun, cartoonish movie. Like, everyone in this movie are just giving hilariously over-the-top comedic performances. And just the way it's shot is really, really inventive as well. Like, it was kind of giving me Wes Anderson vibes, obviously before Wes Anderson made any movies. Like, particularly like the first 11 minutes, which is the whole like kind of intro montage before you get to the title.
Yeah.
And like with Nicolas Cage doing the narration, but there's like a lot of the framing is like kind of like the characters are kind of like in the center of the frame, like how Wes Anderson will do, and just the way the sets look in this movie kind of remind me of like Wes Anderson a little bit. And Wes Anderson's one of my favorite filmmakers, so it's kind of interesting. I could definitely see how Wes might have been influenced by this movie, especially like Bottle Rocket, which is also about like kind of crappy criminals, like kind of, which is Coen brothers are great at doing.
Yeah. I mean, with the banjo and the cartoonishness of it is like very much got like and the chase scenes, it's kind of got like a Dukes of Hazzard or like almost like a Benny Hill vibe. You know, like you're you're waiting for them to like crisscross in and out of doors, you know, with like the dogs following them and stuff. I mean, I just love the cartoonish nature of it. And actually, again, from that same interview, Nicolas Cage said that he was specifically trying to go for a cartoon vibe. That's why he chose to have the Woody Woodpecker, or not, the Woody Woodpecker tattoo on his arm.
Nice.
H.I. McDonough, to me, was like a living cartoon. I saw him as Woody Woodpecker, and so much so that I even put the thrush muffler tattoo, you know, the woodpecker with the cigar and red feathers whipped back in the wind as a tattoo for H.I. McDonough, put it on the character's arm. I would rub my hair until the static electricity would make it lift up so that I was like Woody Woodpecker and would look like Woody Woodpecker.
Yeah, his hair is so fucking good in this movie. He does kind of also have like some Wile E. Coyote kind of energy too.
Definitely.
He's so good. I just love this early era of Nick Cage so much. He's looking great. He's looking hot. Holly Hunter's looking really, really hot in this movie too.
Looking so young, and I think they're in their 20s here. And I think this is the same year that Nick Cage did Moonstruck too.
Yeah, Moonstruck, one of my mom's favorite movies. That's also an incredible movie.
One of my mom's favorite movies. Maybe that could be an episode. Both our moms come on to talk about Moonstruck.
Potentially. I would like that. I love that movie. And
we call it Momstruck.
Momstruck. That'd be good. Yeah. And also like Wild at Heart, I feel like is around this time too.
He definitely has like a similar vibe. It's interesting, like Nick Cage has a few movies where he pulls out this like kind of Southern accent where he's talking like this the whole time. And I don't think that's natural to him, but like it does feel right for him. Like he does it in Con Air, he does it in Wild at Heart, he does it here in Raising Arizona. He is my favorite actor.
Whoa.
He's my favorite living actor. I think he is, and this is a hot take, but he's, I think, the best living actor that we have right now.
Wow.
I'm just going to say it. I think he takes the biggest chances. He works a lot. He takes himself really seriously, but also has a lot of fun. He's just a goddamn treasure. I love him so much.
Yeah, and he does have so many different eras of phases of Cage. Nicolas Cage, he keeps kind of reinventing himself in different ways, doing different types of roles and different types of movies. He's
the best. I mean, Wild at Heart is one of my favorite movies, and then you've got, you know, modern kind of classics like Mandy.
Mandy rules.
So good. I remember seeing that in the theater and just like, this movie has everything that I like. It's got like the quiet, absurd horror of a Lynch film and the colors and like the kind of almost like Hellraiser Cenobites. And then you got Nick Cage freaking out, drinking vodka. I'm just like, I love screaming. God, I love that movie so much. I should revisit it.
Yeah, he's great in Pig as well. He's very good and dramatic in Pig.
Yeah, and it's like people give him a lot of shit for his more, you know, his last 10, 15 years because he did a lot of like straight to video, VOD kind of movies. But, you know, let the man work. I mean,
he's trying to pay the bills.
Yeah, I mean, the guy bought a 2-headed snake. How's he going to pay for that? You know?
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
That's real.
That's real.
Nice.
I just watched this Jimmy Kimmel interview where he was talking about how some guy offered to sell him a 2-headed snake, and he did it. And he said he took care of it for a while, but it was like really hard to take care of because one was more dominant. Like one head was more dominant than the other, and it was like anytime they would feed, the dominant one would like bite the other head. And so he had to feed them by sticking a spatula between their heads and like feeding them individually.
Wow. I love that.
He's incredible. And
Yeah,
and then he
he's
was
so
like,
good.
this is too much. So he like gave it to a zoo or something.
He did the right thing.
He did the right thing.
He's a responsible man. He's one of our finest actors. I can definitely agree with that. And yeah, I love him in this movie. You know, I love his HI and Ed just right off the bat. You know, I could watch these two characters forever. But it's only 90 minutes, but it's a perfect 90 minutes.
Yeah, it's solid.
There's like, it never drags. It's like, it's got this great momentum to it. Yeah, like I could talk about every scene in this movie. I just love it front to back. One of my favorite scenes though is the introduction of John Goodman's character as he's screaming, emerging from the mud, pulling out his buddy by the foot, all the while screaming the entire time. It might be one of my favorite scenes, period. One of the best things ever put to film.
I know.
I die laughing every time that scene happens. It's so incredible. It's so fucking funny.
Just nonstop screaming.
Yeah, he's one of our all-time screamers. Also, Adam Sandler is a great screamer, which we're going to talk about later. And
For sure.
yeah, I'd also throw Will Ferrell in there as one of our all-time best screamers. But you know, that's just a thought.
Kicking and screaming.
Yeah, it's interesting. This is the beginning of the Coen brothers kind of collaboration with John Goodman. So it's kind of fun to see, like, this is like the genesis of their relationship. It is a little bit of a bummer that Nick Cage never works with the Coens again. I don't know. I feel like they're on the same page and like the kind of tone for this movie. And it'd be great to see them work together again, but it doesn't happen. And Holly Hunter comes back for Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? But I think that's the only time. But she's great in that movie as well. But yeah, would have liked to see Nick Cage come back with the Coens because he's so good with them here.
Yeah, I did hear that they did kind of butt heads a little bit, Nick Cage and the Coens, because the Coen brothers are just very strict about their screenplay and don't want any divergence whatsoever. So Nicolas Cage, you know, being Nicolas Cage, wants to put his own flair on things. And, you know, they gave him some aesthetic leeway, like all the shirts, like all the Hawaiian shirts are Nick Cage's choice, and the Woody Woodpecker thing. So they gave him like a little room, but I don't think they gave him like any room to improvise whatsoever. And I think that just didn't jive with him.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, the Coens are very particular about line readings. I've heard in interviews, like, you stick to the script. Like, you don't fuck around.
Yeah, but goddamn does he nail those lines. Like every line in this movie is, and the way that he uses his eyes is just remarkable.
Yeah. And like, I love how he does the narration. There's like a good amount of narration that Nicolas Cage does in this movie, and he just nails it. It's particularly like the ending of the movie, where he's talking about like his dream, and at this point, like, they're kind of saying now Ed and HI are like gonna break up because the whole experience has been kind of bad, but he's like kind of like imagining the future through this dream, and imagining like this potential cloudy future of where like they're back together and like they have like kids and grandkids, and I don't know, he does such a good job like delivering that narration. It kind of gets me every time.
It seemed like us, and it seemed like, well, our home. If not Arizona, then a land not too far away, where all parents are strong and wise and capable. And all children are happy and beloved.
The emotional beats like really hit, even though like it is such a cartoonish comedic movie. Like when it gets emotional and gets heartfelt near the end, like it really gets to me. I think it's really well done.
Yeah, it's a beautiful movie, and Coen brothers always do a great job of, mixing the drama with the comedy. I think, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, similar in that, like, it's got a really wholesome core, but also very funny.
Yeah, and they do have some really cynical movies that have no like heartwarming stuff in it at all. I feel like as they go on, they get a little less heartwarming, but this movie definitely has some heartwarming stuff, especially at the end, that I think is really well done.
I mean, the first time H.I. talks about a dream is when, he's kind of wrestling with the guilt of stealing the baby, and he has the vision of the motorcycle man, played by Randall Tex Cobb.
Incredible name.
Yes.
And
so
his character name is Leonard Smalls, which is also a really funny name.
Yeah.
But, yeah, he's great in this movie.
He really is great. And I know Randall from Ace Ventura. Remember, he's in the very beginning of Ace Ventura when Ace steals the dog from him, and he like is smashing the car in like the very first scene.
Yeah, actually, I haven't watched much of the first Ace Ventura. I watched a lot of Nature Calls, the sequel, because we had that one, and there's a lot of stuff my mom didn't approve of in the first Ace Ventura, so we just didn't watch it.
There's a lot in that movie I don't approve of now. Like,
yeah,
revisiting Ace Ventura, it's, they have a lot of like transphobia.
Yeah, for sure.
That's sort of doesn't hold up, but Jim Carrey, national treasure again. I should have a list of national treasures. I got Tom Cruise, Nick Cage,
Nick
Jim
Cage is
Carrey.
the top though, because
Yes,
he's in National Treasure.
yes, he is literally.
Yeah, but yeah, I love Randall Tex Cobb in this movie. And just that dream sequence you're talking about is so funny, with him driving down the desert road and he like grenades a rabbit. He shoots a lizard off a rock with his like little sawed-off shotgun. It's so funny.
It's interesting, his character, because obviously, like, he is a real guy, because towards the end he appears in front of Nick Cage, and he's like, you can see him too. So yeah, I was thinking that he was just like this kind of like demonic guilt figure of H.I., but then he is real.
Yeah.
So yeah,
he just has
wonder,
prophetic dreams. He knows what's happening.
Yeah. So that's what I think we're supposed to take away from it, is that he just kind of like sees the future. So
he's a magical dreamer.
Yeah. Yeah, and that kind of makes the ending feel a little more wholesome too, because it's like if he could predict this, madman who was trying to kill him,
right?
And maybe he is predicting accurately that they will get back together and that, like, life will be okay.
Yeah, I do like that. It is like, it's not 100% thing that's like a happy ending, but it's just a hope. I like that little ambiguity there.
And Frances is really bringing it in this movie. Like, I love her energy. It's just amazing. It's like we were saying, I think in the first episode, that Frances, like, as time has moved on, she's just turned into this very, very serious actress.
Yeah.
But like here you see her like really playing up everything, giving a lot of energy. It's so good.
Yeah, she plays this kind of bimbo housewife so well.
Yeah.
But Glenn is hilarious as well. He's with all of his bad jokes, and I love when he throws beans or something at his son, and he's like, hit the deck out of nowhere.
Yeah, the kids are just like terrorizing the house.
Yeah, like drawing shit on the walls.
That kid draws fart on the wall.
Yeah, and he just throws beans at him. Hit the deck. I love it.
Yeah, he just like tells his really bad Polish jokes that like don't land at all. It's just like, no, they're so stupid.
Yeah.
And then later he tries to he admits that he's a swinger and he wants to like wife swap
Yeah.
with HI and
HI's not having it.
does not take kindly to that proposition.
He rocks him. He punches him real good.
And I do love too, like how they set it in like this kind of like conservative Arizona Bible thumping town, where it's like everybody kind of speaks in this archaic language. In the very beginning, when Nick Cage is like talking about how she's barren, is like,
But the doctor explained that her insides were a rocky place where my seed could find no purchase.
I like that they set this like very cartoonish and over the top vibe with these conservative characters, and it just creates a really interesting juxtaposition. Like how in the beginning when when John Goodman and William Forsythe,
he plays Evil, I think his character's name is.
The two convicts, and how they're like, talking very like politely to Holly Hunter.
Yeah, I like that scene where they're like shoveling down cereal, like they're like getting milk everywhere, and they're like staring at her with the baby. And John Goodman's like, "Why aren't you breastfeeding?"
yeah, that to me, that scene of them eating the cereal all weird. It's like, okay, like we're getting to see like the style of Coen brothers right there, like that those images just like burnt into your head of these weird looking like greaser convicts just like spilling cereal all over their face like children.
Yeah, also I love Nathan Arizona, who plays the dad.
Oh, he's so good.
Whose baby gets stolen. He's a great character. He's got a lot of good scenes. I like the one scene where he's getting interviewed by the press about like his baby being stolen, and like one of the reporters is like, they say that maybe a UFO may have abducted your baby. He's like, don't print that, son. If my wife reads that, she's gonna lose all hope.
Yeah.
It's just such a funny line, and he delivers it perfectly. And I also love the scene with him meeting Leonard Smalls, which that kind of gave me some No Country for Old Men vibes.
Yes,
like
definitely.
He's kind of got some, Leonard Smalls kind of has some Anton Sugar, kind of quiet but intimidating.
Yeah, that's a great comparison. But yeah, that actor plays Nathan Arizona, Trey Wilson. He actually died 2 years after this movie was made.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
At a fairly young age. He was only like 40. He was like 41.
Damn.
It's amazing to think he does not look like a 30-year-old like guy in his 30s in this movie.
Yeah, and I love the scene when H.I.'s stealing the baby upstairs, and you see Nathan Arizona and his wife, like they're like both sitting in their living room reading the newspaper, and they just are like kind of staring at the ceiling. Listening to the sound of clearly something going on, but they just are kind of just doing nothing and just with their mouth agape. That was another nice little moment.
So you talk about like the movie and its pacing. I will push back a little bit on that, because even though that scene is amazing with the babies and him just like trying to calm them all down and them kind of like, running this way and that, and it's very fun and cartoonish. I do love it, but I'm just like, why didn't you just grab one and leave?
He's trying to pick the right one.
Okay, fair enough. But I love it when he goes back to the car and he's like, it was horrifying. It's like, you go back in there and you get me a baby.
And then when they finally do get the baby, and then Nick Cage is like, I got a real good one. Yeah, he's fine. He is.
Yeah, I love how like there's something like magical about this baby that like anybody who gets their hands on it, they just immediately fall in love. And like even John Goodman and William Forsythe's characters, like William's like, he smiled at me.
Yeah. I love that when they bring him home and they have like the welcome home Nathan like little banner, and he's giving him the tour of the place, and then he like sits him down, and then Nick Cage kind of gets overwhelmed with emotion. He's like, "What are you kidding? We got ourselves family here."
Yeah.
Such a great delivery on that.
Yeah, and I don't think I mentioned this yet, but actually yesterday was my first time ever seeing it.
Wow.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah,
never.
I was wondering that.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think that I have seen it in bits and pieces, fits and starts, throughout my life. Like, I definitely remember that cold open, and the music is very familiar to me. Just love that music's so good. Another like really cool foreshadow to like the rest of the Coen brothers' career is like, just like using music so well in their movies. But yeah, I mean, it was my first time watching it. I really enjoyed it. But for my money, I think my favorite Coen brothers movie is Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, definitely.
Yeah, that's a big one in our family. Yeah, I've seen that movie so many times.
Yeah, but no disrespect to this movie, but I love Oh Brother, Where Art Thou so much. It's just like such a touching and funny and just classic movie.
Yeah, iconic soundtrack. One of the best-selling soundtracks ever, something like that.
Best-selling ever?
I think Oh Brother, Where Art Thou. It broke some records, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I just love Raising Arizona. It just holds a very special place in my heart, particularly because of that, how it inspired me when I was a boy. But it's a movie I've watched many times over my life and keep coming back to. It just always puts a smile on my face. It's the movies, man. I love it.
Yeah, I love that it inspired you so much, and it is just such a well-crafted film. And
yeah, it's such an incredible zig from their first movie, Blood Simple, too, which is it's just like kind of like this murder drama that is very grim. I mean, there's some like funny moments in it, but it's very bleak and dark. And like this movie is just like so bright and colorful and funny and inventive with like how it uses the camera, like the kind of following shots it does. I don't know. It's got a lot of movement to it, and it's really, they're like pulling out all the tricks, and I love it. It's great.
Yeah, they really like proved themselves to like make a film that's unique, interesting, like fun for the whole family. And I think it was one of the more popular movies of this year of 1987. So they did a great job.
Yeah, I know this movie is very popular in Arizona. I remember on a family trip, like this movie would always be playing on like all the local. You just like this movie would just kind of pop up in Arizona on their TV, which is kind of funny. But
that's great.
Yeah, I do want to. I really love the fight scene between Nicolas Cage and John Goodman. I just love like a good like kind of messy like indoor fight scene like that. And there's like a part where Nicolas Cage like scrapes his fingers on the ceiling, which is like
the bumpy ceiling.
Yeah, like a bumpy ceiling, and he just has this huge reaction to it. It's like
when John Goodman like winds up for a punch and he like smashes his elbow through the window and then crashes his fist through the wall, and then like the cheese puffs going everywhere. That's amazing. And then when they come back to the house and it's still like trashed. I love that continuity. It's just like little details like that just really fill out the universe.
Yeah, and the Coens are always good at casting just like little random like roles, like a clerk at a store or something, and like finding these weird like actors that you'll never see anywhere else, like the gas station clerk that Willem Forsythe like meets up with, and because they have to buy some Huggies, where he like picks out the balloons and he's like, "These blow up in any funny shapes?" And then the clerk's like, "No, unless round's funny."
Oh my God, there's so many classic lines. What a great movie.
If you haven't seen Raising Arizona, please check it out. It'll be the most fun 90 minutes of your life.
Yeah. If you're ever having a bummer day, just pop on Raising Arizona. It'll lift your spirits.
Yeah, absolutely. And the movie you chose also put a good smile on my face.
Oh man, Billy boy. God, I have so much to say about Billy Madison. I love, love, love this movie.
Do you remember the first time you saw it?
That's a good question. I can't really pinpoint the moment that I saw Billy Madison. I feel like it was just like in the background of my life, like since I became conscious. Like, because I mean, like, I was 8 when this movie came out, and it probably didn't really like click with me until I was, a little closer to being a teenager. I remember going into middle school and having friends who also obviously were obsessed with Billy Madison. And it's kind of fun that like Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore kind of like share the stage a little bit. They both kind of, I don't know, it's just Adam Sandler, peak Sandler.
Yeah, I think they're 1 year apart. I think Happy Gilmore's just the year after.
Right. And I remember one of my best friends, when we first connected, and like I went to his house maybe in 8th grade, and we're like hanging out in his basement, and he was like, I got this CD, and it was a 99 track CD where every single track was just shampoo is better. It was just that scene, and we would just like listen to it on repeat. And that was when I realized, and we would challenge each other to be able to like quote the movie as far as we could possibly do just from memory. So we would just like, suntan lotion is good for me, and just take it as far as we could possibly go in the whole movie. And as I'm, even to this day, when I'm watching it, it's like one of those like old albums that, you listen to as a kid, and it's just locked in your brain. Like every single scene in this movie is just classic. Like there isn't a single ounce of fat on this movie. Like everything sticks. Everything is, I literally would not make a single cut to this movie.
Yeah.
For me, it is a perfect comedy, and it actually was driven home for me a little bit more last year when at the Music Box Theater they were showing it on 35 millimeter, and so I got to watch it in the theater with an original print from the 90s, and just it was in the secondary theater, so it was like a smaller, like more intimate showing, and it was just like it was like finding my people, every single person was just cracking up at every single line. Everybody was quoting it out loud, like Rocky Horror Picture Show. Like that this movie doesn't get more like midnight screenings or anything like that is a shame, because it's such a fun movie to watch with an audience. And watching it in that way last year, it just solidified itself as not only one of my favorite comedies, but probably my favorite movie, period, of all time. I just love it so much.
Yeah, that reminds me. Yeah, I actually I saw like a screening of Raising Arizona last year, but it was at this weird little bar called Henrietta House in Hamtramck. So it was very small, intimate vibe. There's probably like only like 10 other people there. I was there with my friends Monty and Joni, but that was just such an amazing experience, and just everybody was laughing so hard, like big belly laughs. And yeah, that a similar thing is like it kind of solidified like this movie is my favorite movie of all time. Just being able to watch it with other people, and just the energy in the room, like where everyone was vibing with it, and it's like I love this movie.
Yeah,
it's the best.
I mean, it's really special to watch a movie that, I mean, I'm sure everybody in that theater was around my age and grew up watching the movie and probably had never seen it on a big screen. And so, and the movie is very cinematic, like the way that, like the big musical number at the end, and, just a lot of like the big party scenes and everything. So when you see it up on the big screen, it really kind of consumes you in a different way. And another thing with this movie is I think it was my first DVD. I think it was the first movie I ever bought on DVD.
That's a big one.
Yeah. So I've just, this movie just really, really holds a special place in my heart.
It's directed by Tamra Davis, the first female director we've talked about, which is cool.
And I have a lot to say about Tamra Davis and how much I think that she shaped this movie. But let's, for the uninitiated, and God, I hope there aren't a lot of you out there that haven't seen this movie.
Yeah.
But for those that haven't, tagline is, Billy's going back to school, ... way back.
Oh, yeah.
So Billy Madison is the 27-year-old son of Brian Madison, who's a very rich man who's made his living in the hotel industry, Madison Hotels. And Billy stands to inherit his father's empire, but he can only do it if he makes it through all 12 grades, going back to school. He's got 2 weeks to graduate every grade and to prove that he has what it takes to run the family business. It's just a fucking perfect setup for a movie. I mean, the setup of this character is just like a spoiled brat rich guy who gets to do anything he wants. It's kind of got like a Richie Rich sort of vibe.
Yeah.
And, as a kid watching this movie, you're like, wow, this guy's just got the best life. He's just sits around with his friends getting wasted.
Penguins.
Hallucinating penguins. Which is, again, another awesome way to open up the movie, that he's just like actually delusional person who
I remember
speaks in gibberish.
I just loved that so much as a kid. Just that big penguin at the beginning of the movie. I just remember just like thinking that was so compelling to me as a kid. I was like, what? This big penguin suit guy, he's chasing him around. Like, I was hooked in right away with that. And
I'll say too, the music, the score in this movie is just so good. I love the score of this movie by Randy Edelman, and the fact that they got the score over the Universal logo was a big deal back then, because Universal didn't always allow for the like unique score to go over their logo. And especially when I saw it in the theater last year, when the music kicks in and the Universal logo comes up, it just, like, this joy just surges through my body. Like I just like it just started peaking on ecstasy or something. Just like the way that it's just like oh my God, there's like very little music in the world that will give me that much of a smile. And it's so cool that it just kicks off the movie that way. Oh, it's just so good.
Yeah, it's such a goofy little playful song, but it's perfect for the movie.
Oh, it's so good.
I like then like the songs, like the needle drops in it.
Oh yeah. Like they got
great song choices.
They got Jackson 5, which is
ABC.
Yeah, how did they do that? I mean, and then you got ELO, Telephone Line.
Oh yeah, that's one of my favorite scenes of the movie, is the Steve Buscemi scene set to ELO's Telephone Line, and it's so fucking funny. Yeah, like, what does he do? He crosses off like people he's gonna kill
He crosses off with lipstick and then proceeds to put it on and lay back. Yeah, so we kick off the movie. We're just Billy's drunk, chasing a penguin, getting his porno magazines, which are so funny. Like, they look like comic books. Like the way that they're just like so colorful.
Yeah, it's a very colorful movie is what I noticed. It's like, the set design is like really colorful, and I loved all the sets in the movie. It's just it's a good looking movie.
Yeah, and I think that kind of corresponds with Raising Arizona too, because they're both very colorful movies. But Davis talks about that a lot in her commentary about how the use of color was very important to her, especially since we're like going through school. So like when you're in those first grade scenes, like she was just like, I want color everywhere. Like you can see there's color gels on all the windows. It's just filled to the brim with all kinds of childish colors everywhere.
Yeah, Miss Lippy's got the colorful dress. I love Miss Lippy. She's a great character.
Miss Lippy's the best. You got the blue duck talking about, they're just talking about colors and then
the bad guy's office is completely black and he's got like the black rat in the cage with like the black wheel. Like this is really, I just love that kind of detail.
Yeah, and if you notice as Billy goes through all the different grades, it just gets progressively more dull in the colors.
Yeah, by the time he's in high school, it's just like kind of brown and beige.
Yeah. God, there's just so much I want to say about this movie.
Well, why don't you maybe talk about Adam Sandler a little bit and your relationship with Adam Sandler?
Sure. I actually saw Adam Sandler live a few weeks ago.
Nice.
He's on tour right now, so that was pretty cool to see the man in person. And he had a surprise guest. Do you want to guess who it was?
Well, you've already told me, but
oh right,
Rob Schneider.
It was Rob Schneider.
Nice.
Yeah. We can do it, or you can do it, guy.
Yeah.
But,
I'm not a huge Rob Schneider fan, honestly, and I'm kind of glad he's not in this movie. Norm Macdonald is way better as like a best friend type character.
Absolutely. I think you're so right. I think if Rob Schneider was in this movie, it would have been worse.
Yeah,
I'm not a big Rob Schneider fan. I don't like his comedy or his politics.
Yeah.
I think he's just kind of, and he was doing some very, challenging the woke mafia stuff, like
anti-woke comedian shit.
Yeah, he's very anti-woke comedian, and
yeah, I know. And like, Don't Mess with the Zohan, he plays like kind of like a Middle Eastern taxi driver, and he's got like brown face on. Like that's pretty. I didn't
so
like that.
Bad. Yeah, no, bad. And in 50 First Dates, he plays like a Hawaiian guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's really, really cringy.
Yeah.
But one fun thing is he is apparently like a professional Elvis impersonator. So he did an Elvis song, and I have to say he was pretty incredible. He's got some pipes on him.
All right, that's something.
So
we shouldn't get too bogged down in Schneider though. But
let's get off Schneider and get back on McDonald, because God damn, I love Norm Macdonald so much. He's one of my favorite comedians. Rest in peace. Such a tragedy that he passed away. I was really crushed when he died. I was really, really sad. I mean, he's just one of the funniest people on earth. I got to see him live in San Francisco once for the taping of his special, me doing stand-up, which was
nice.
It was special. He's just such a perfect force for this movie. He's just such a great friend, to Adam Sandler.
Yeah, it's kind of weird that he is friends with like this idiot rich guy, because he's just, I don't know. It's a funny pairing, but I think it works. Norm Macdonald's kind of got like the stoner vibe to him a little bit.
I don't know. I think he plays a perfect kind of like deadbeat friend who's just like hanging on to his rich friend.
Hey, you want to feed that donkey some beer? Get it all messed up? Maybe later. I'll go put some beer in a bucket.
I love that.
There are some amazing Norm Macdonald deleted scenes too that I want to call your attention to. There's an alternate opening to the movie when Adam's like has the sunscreen on him and he's kind of paddling towards them.
Yeah.
That cloud up there reminds me of my ex-girlfriend. That cloud is a fat skank?
So funny. He had a verse in the ending song.
Oh, the musical number.
Billy, my buddy, I thought you liked to have fun. Sit around, drink beer all day, light bags of shit and run.
Yeah, but he just has such a horrible singing voice. Perfect.
We'll still have good times. I wish I could think of something that rhymes.
Adam has such a good voice. Like he's really hitting the notes.
Yeah, it sounds like it's dubbed over with somebody else, but do you think that's actually him singing?
I think it is, honestly. I mean, he does have a really good voice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Norm just has no tonal quality whatsoever.
Yeah.
But it, God, when I was like looking at all these deleted scenes, I was just like, I was missing Norm so much.
Yeah.
I
didn't really appreciate Norm in his time. I didn't really like, and I kind of went back after he died and like watched a lot of clips and that realized how fucking funny he was after he died. So I kind of missed out on Norm when he was around, which I feel bad about.
Yeah, love him so much. And then we've got Chris Farley in this movie.
Oh my God, he's so funny. That's the bus driver.
He's incredible. Just
Incredible.
incredible.
Another incredible yeller. Such funny what he's screaming at the kids. It's just
Everybody on? Good. Great. Grand. Wonderful. No yelling on the bus.
and he's like that shot of him when his like face is just getting redder and redder, like the veins are popping out of his forehead.
I'll turn this damn bus around. That'll end your precious little field trip pretty damn quick, huh?
It's such a funny shot. I was cracking up at that.
Tamra Davis speaks the world of him in the commentary. She said that before he did that scene, he downed 6 shots of espresso, just like bam, 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 bam.
Whoa.
So this movie was filmed in Toronto at the exact same time that they were filming Tommy Boy. So,
Oh, wow.
So, you know, all these guys, Spade and Farley included, were all just hanging out in Toronto for both of those movies. And I want to talk a little bit about Tamra Davis just being the director of this movie, because I think she's kind of the unsung hero of why this movie is so enduring. So she wasn't the first choice as director. They had a director, I don't know who it was, for like the first 4 days of shooting, and he was fired. And so they brought Tamra in, and I don't know this for sure, but if you look at some of those deleted scenes, especially this scene in the locker room, I cannot imagine that Tamra Davis would have shot that. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's the reason this guy got fired, because there is a heinous deleted scene where it's all those boys from the 3rd grade naked in a locker room making fun of Ernie, like presumably about his penis size.
Yeah.
They're all laughing at him, and then Billy walks in, a fully grown man with a bunch of naked young boys, like showing off his dick, and they're all like, wow, he's got such a big dick.
Yeah.
And then the gag is like another little kid walks in, and like the joke is that he's got a bigger dick than Billy. And it's like, holy fuck, what a good cut. Like, I'm so glad that like, I don't think I'd be able to watch Billy Madison if that scene still was in the movie. I almost like think less of this movie just that it even happened.
Yeah, that he filmed it.
Oh my God, it's fucking awful. Like, I was just like, holy shit.
Yeah, and there's like no music in the deleted scene too, and there's just like a lot of uncomfortable like staring, like Adam Sandler staring at naked kids staring at naked Adam Sandler. It's just so uncomfortable.
Oh my God, just like makes me sick to my stomach. But
thankfully it's not in the movie.
Thank God. And so like Tamra Davis talks about this. There are some scenes that she didn't shoot that like kind of had to stay in because they were crucial scenes. Like the scene in the field trip, I think, wasn't shot with her. And
the peeing the pants stuff?
Yeah, all that stuff. Bridget Wilson, who I think is amazing in this movie.
That the blonde teacher?
Yeah.
Actually, I didn't love her in this movie. I don't know. That was the complaint. I didn't think she was very good.
Oh, I think that she has like kind of like a nice, strong sensibility to her. I think she plays like a strong female character for a movie that's like so objectifying. But yeah, like Tamra Davis talks about like how she didn't shoot that scene in the field trip, and she would not have approved of how short her skirt is in that scene. Because she's a teacher. Like, a teacher wouldn't be dressing so like sexy.
Yeah.
I just think, especially just judging by some of the deleted scenes, that Tamra Davis was really able to rein in a little bit of like the immaturity of Adam Sandler and the whole crew there. I'm sure that she made them kind of pull back a little bit from the really inappropriate stuff. And furthermore, the way that she talks about how she directed Adam, and especially it being his first film, or his first big film, she was like, you have to be a fan of who you're directing. So she was just like a big fan of Adam Sandler. She just wanted to have fun. And one thing that I think will stick with me, you know, if I'm ever in a directing position, is like, especially with comedians, is like, you want to be like their best audience. Like, you want to just be cracking up at everything that they do, make it feel like they're performing for an audience that like enjoys them. And I feel like that vibe is really strong and comes off really strong in the movie.
Yeah, that's Adam Sandler. You can definitely tell he feels very comfortable and loose, and it is funny because like just like the way he plays Billy Madison kind of varies wildly throughout the movie. Sometimes he's like a complete idiot and like you can't imagine him doing anything, and sometimes he just feels like Adam Sandler. And
yeah,
it's kind of, I'm not saying that's a dig on the movie. I like it. I think it's funny that he's like just constantly fluctuating between like how dumb is he going to play it, how weird is he going to be in this scene. Sometimes he doesn't even seem like he's playing a character at all. He's like, you can almost see him breaking character sometimes, like almost like laughing as himself. And
yeah,
I think it just lends to the feel good fun energy of the movie.
Yeah, one scene he's speaking complete gibberish, and then in the next scene he's performing Hamlet.
Yeah, he's actually well spoken.
Yeah. Also, we should say Bradley Whitford as Eric he's such a perfect villain in this.
I didn't realize that's the same guy who plays the dad in Get Out.
Yeah, but he's such an underrated comedic actor. I think he's just got such good comedic faces and voices and timing.
Sorry. Well, sorry doesn't put the Triscuit crackers in my stomach, now does it, Carl?
Like I said in the beginning, there just isn't an ounce of fat on this movie. Every single scene is great and moves the plot forward in such a sequential way. Like, I really think that it could be taught in screenwriting classes. Is just like, this is how you construct a screenplay. Like, every scene advances the next one. But interspersed in that are just these complete absurdity scenes, like when he's just on the stairs and then
dancing,
the Culture Club song comes out and he's just dancing.
Yeah,
like that's unnecessary, but thank God it's in the movie. I mean, it's just hilarious.
Yeah, it goes on for longer than you'd think. I think it's like right after like they figured out like, oh, you're gonna go back to school, and I guess he's really happy about it. He starts dancing on the stairs. It's so dumb and silly, but it's very lovable.
Or just like little side plots that they keep coming back to.
The O'Doyles
are great, or like the clown that falls and breaks his head.
Oh yeah.
like the clown keeps popping up in different scenes.
Yeah, this movie is really pretty good at doing callbacks and, you know, kind of keeping a joke going throughout the movie, like with the maid in his house, like always hitting on Billy and saying inappropriate things. Like, that's a good running bit.
Yeah, Juanita. She's actually so that actress, her name is Teresa Merritt. And I recently watched All That Jazz and noticed she's in All That Jazz.
Oh, All That Jazz is great.
She plays a very small role as like one of the actresses in the play that
Bob Fosse.
Yeah, well, like the play that takes place in the movie.
Yeah.
She was also like in The Wiz. She also passed away like a few years after this movie, so I think it was like kind of her like final role.
Damn.
But yeah, she's a really funny addition to the movie.
Also, the principal of the school hitting on Billy, setting up the Valentine. P.S. I'm horny.
Principal Max Anderson, a.k.a. the Revolting Blob, who has a checkered past of sitting on people's heads and killing them.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that backstory. So funny.
So that actor's name is Josh Mostel, and he is the son of Zero Mostel, who plays opposite Gene Wilder as Max Bialystock in The Original Producers from 1967.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, like a few other things about the making of this movie is that like Davis just loved working with children. Apparently Adam was really good with all of the kids.
yeah, the kids are great in this movie. I wrote that down as like all these, they get weird looking kids, but they're hilarious, and they just, yeah, they did a great job with these kid performances, which is hard to do.
Yeah, I think it's really tough, and I think again adds to the wholesome nature of this movie because they really enjoyed actually working with these kids. It wasn't like a burden to them. Like Davis like actually loves like school and children and teaching and teachers and stuff like that. So that's why she was like, I really want to make it believable that we're in these classrooms and that we're like gaining relationships with the children. Yeah, they apparently, so for the dodgeball scene, Adam like told Davis, he's like, I really want to hit these kids like as hard as I can.
Yeah.
And Davis was like, I don't know if that's gonna work. Like, but they like, when day of the scene, like Tamra was like, okay, like who here like wants to be hit by a dodgeball? And like a bunch of the kids like raised their hands, and she was like, okay, like he's gonna really throw it at you hard. And they were like, it's okay, like let's do it. And like she said, it was like varying reactions to like kids like just being like, whoa, that are in the movie, and then like other kids like just straight up crying. But like she was like very clear to be like, all these kids consented to it. And she was just like, I just thought it was really funny that we could just be as mean as we wanted to these kids. She's just like, being mean to kids is funny.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the most iconic scenes in the movie. Set to Beat on the Brad by Ramones, just him wailing on the kids with the dodgeball. That's just like ingrained deep into my memory. And can you talk about maybe what do you have like some favorite scenes in this movie?
I love the big musical numbers. It's so fun. I love all the Chris Farley scenes in the bus. Who would steal 50 bag of lunches? And it's just like the three of them just scarfing down the sandwiches. I love all the like random scenes of like when they cut to Miss Lippy and she's just like putting paste on her face.
Yeah. Yeah, just a lot of weird little scenes that they sprinkle throughout, give it a lot of personality. I do love on the field trip, the whole peeing your pants is cool bit. And then that one old lady is like, peeing your pants is cool, and I'm Miles Davis.
Consider me Miles Davis.
And then Adam Sandler's like, whoa, that's the grossest thing I've ever heard.
Let's go.
It's such a funny reaction.
Yeah.
That shit cracks me up.
Some of the throwaway lines are so good. Like just in the very beginning of that field trip scene when the old lady's like walking around with him, she's like, what's a horseshoe? What does a horseshoe do?
Oh, yeah.
Anybody listening to me?
Yeah, I feel like I never caught that when I watched it as a kid, but it's a really funny thing that's just like thrown in.
I had like the whole Mortal Kombat. It's like, Mortal Kombat is the greatest game.
It's the best video game ever.
I disagree. It's a very good game, but I think Donkey Kong is the best game ever.
Donkey Kong sucks.
You know something? You suck.
Yeah, the way the kid says, Donkey Kong sucks. Like, it's such a great line reading by that kid.
Yeah,
so
and
funny.
The kid's hair is, like, his haircut is so ridiculous.
Yeah, then there's like another weird scene with the sloppy joes at lunch, and then like the lunch lady comes out, and she's like really like kind of creepy and scary.
Have some more sloppy joes. I made them extra sloppy for you. I know how you kids like them sloppy.
Lady, you're scaring us.
I love it's like just random ass shit. It's really funny.
And it's like all those little scenes that they throw in there are just like, we can just push this a little bit further. And it doesn't matter that it, like, you know, the sloppy Joe lady like doesn't come back, except Norm makes out with her at the very end.
Oh yeah, and Chris Farley makes out with the big penguin. Bring back.
Yeah.
I love that. It's really funny.
Yeah, and Steve Buscemi hooks up with Juanita.
Yeah, I love the climax of the movie when what's the bad guy's name? Bradley Whitford, is that the actor?
Yeah,
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 they're like having like that quiz to like
yes.
the competitive quiz, and then like he just like pulls out a gun, and then Steve Buscemi shoots him in the ass with a sniper.
Yeah.
And Buscemi gives that hilarious like little wave to Adam, and it's just such a funny like.
Man, I'm glad I called that guy.
It's like the perfect implementation of Buscemi. It's so funny.
Yeah. And then, of course, you've got the classic monologue from the principal at the end of the decathlon after Billy gives his speech about the puppy that lost his way.
Mr. Madison, what you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Jim Downey, one of the great SNL writers of all time.
Yeah, I also love the decathlon montage when they're like cooking and the guy just like just completely on fire, and like Adam Sandler's just like cracking up.
And that's supposed to be Eric, fully engulfed in flames. Yeah, and again, like the tie between Raising Arizona and this, like it does have some cartoonish elements to it, where it's like, yeah, it's like very like Wile E. Coyote, like the bad guy just gets fully engulfed in flames, and then he's fine the next scene. One other deleted scene, you got the classic like, it's poop again, Old Man Clemens, like that whole scene. So there's a deleted scene. They go back to Old Man Clemens' house, and it's basically Billy realizing like the error of his ways, like I shouldn't be doing this. And then Old Man Clemens starts making fun of him.
I'm sorry. Hey, ain't you the kid who had to bribe his way through second grade? Ho, ho, ho. Look here, Barbara. We got ourselves a celebrity on our lawn. Flunked the second grade. 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 Come on out and join in, Barbara.
It's a nice little scene.
God, the guy who plays
the second grade. Flunked the second grade.
Yeah, the actor who plays him is so funny, and that he agreed to be in those tidy whities is just so amazing.
Yeah, I do like that one line where I think Adam Sandler's like, "Here's a nice piece of shit," or something.
Yeah, and that's paired so well with the scene right before, because Mr. Madison's looking out the window and he's like, Billy boy, when will you find what you're looking for? And then it gets to him, here's a nice piece of shit.
It's such a funny line reading.
So yeah, I mean, I could talk about Billy Madison all day long. I love it so much. Is there anything else you want to say about Billy Madison?
Yeah, I had a lot of fun rewatching this movie. It's just like so many little moments that just crack you up, like him like grabbing that like little chubby kid's face and like squeezing it together.
For the love of God, cherish it.
Jennifer, why don't you try reading out loud for a minute, okay?
You gotta cherish it. You do.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so... Oh, and the party scenes are fucking so good, and especially... Billy past the third grade.
Oh, what a glorious day. Oh, passing third grade. The Billy Madison way.
Tamra Davis said that they were like at like a local Toronto bar. They were like literally like a local band, and they hired them just to do that one little song.
Yeah, I also love the little song he sings, Adam Sandler sings to himself, the back to school song while he's waiting for the bus.
Back to school, to prove to Dad that I'm not a fool. I got my lunch packed up, my boots tied tight. I hope I don't get in a fight. Oh, back to school, back to school, back to...
That's just another one of those scenes that's ingrained deep in me.
Yeah.
Back to school.
I don't know. There's, again, something very wholesome about it.
Yeah, I rewatched Happy Gilmore before watching this movie, and that movie holds up pretty well too, but yeah, I think this movie's just on a whole nother level. I mean,
Yeah.
Happy Gilmore employs Adam Sandler's rage really well, which is one of his biggest assets, is just like how angry, how well he can yell and scream. And
Yeah.
he does get into some of that in Billy Madison, but it's more of him just like being a goofball and doing like his weird sing-songy voice and just like saying shit you just would never think anyone would say.
Yeah. And again, I mean, obviously I don't know this, but after listening to the commentary, I just really feel like a lot of that has to do with Tamra Davis. And she was asked to do Happy Gilmore, but she turned it down.
Did she give a reason why she turned down Happy Gilmore?
Yeah, she was just like, I don't want to lock myself into being like an Adam Sandler director, which may have been a bad financial choice, considering she probably could have been like the same director for him.
Yeah, Dennis Duggan directs Happy Gilmore, and he does direct a shit ton of Adam Sandler movies.
Yeah.
Big Daddy, Grown Ups, Jack and Jill, Zohan, Chuck and Larry. So
Yeah.
Dennis Duggan he took it away from Tamra, but it would be interesting to see if Tamra was like the go-to Sandler director, and like probably all of the movies would have been a little bit better.
I think so. I think she just got a really good touch to this film. Her philosophy of giving Adam the room to be who he wanted to be, and that she liked kids, and that she made some very good, very crucial cuts to this movie. I don't know.
Yeah.
It gave me a new appreciation, another layer of appreciation for this movie.
Another connection to Raising Arizona. It's a tight 90 minutes.
Tight 90.
We need 90-minute comedies, folks. Bring them back.
But yeah, I think that's all I really have to say about Billy Madison. Didn't really give a synopsis of it, but I just don't think that it needs to be.
I mean, the synopsis is all there in that little blurb. Like, it's just a very simple premise, but it's a perfect premise to like hang all these fun little goof-offs in it. And that's what a good Adam Sandler comedy should be. It doesn't get bogged down in the plot. It's just like an excuse to goof off in different ways.
So I think that does it for this week's episode of Film with Family.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Tune in next week. We're going to talk with Caleb, another member of our family.
My brother.
And my cousin. And we're going to be talking with him about one of his favorite movies of all time, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
That'll be a good one. It'll be a good episode. Yeah, we're going to want to tune into that.
Quick final fact. Kevin Costner was the first choice of H.I. McDonough.
What?
Yeah.
Wow. I'm glad Nicolas Cage got it.
Me too.
Costner does not have the comedic chops to pull off that role.
Absolutely not. So anyways, thanks for listening to Film with Family. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. And if you want to follow us on social media, right now we're on Instagram and Twitter at Film with Family. And we'll see you next week.
Bye.